For me, shopping is a hunt.
This is Solo Travel Talk. Your solo travel advisor is Astrid Clements.
Two great things are coming together. Special, unique items discovered on your solo adventure and Astrid's love of shopping. Hello, everyone. I'm producer Catherine. On this episode of Solo Travel Talk, prepare yourself to hear some delighted talk since Astrid loves to shop. Shopping can be a really fun, memorable part of solo travel, and you know Astrid will have some shopping tips.
Well, I'll just start the podcast with a confession.
Oh, no!
I am a self-professed shopaholic. And this started a long time ago. I had a wonderful grandmother. She was from Berlin, Germany, and she loved beautiful things, beautiful clothes. She wanted to have things just right all the time. And as a very young girl, maybe a little bit older than a toddler, she would take me to New Orleans, and we would shop on Canal Street every Saturday in the best stores, and we would look and try to get what we thought was the best thing that we were looking for the best price. And I just loved it. There were so many great things and that, times that we shared together. So it kind of started there with her. But I do think it's in my genes because I just love beautiful things. I love to window shop. I do like to buy things, but I have to watch my money. So that in itself has really helped me hone in my shopping skills because when I want something, I want it. So it's definitely a big part of any trip that I take because I get so much pleasure in it. Some people really like to shop, and a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
It gets on their nerves. But for somebody like me, I just like, first of all, the visual experience of it. But there are a lot of other aspects to the shopping that I really, really like, especially when I travel, is because it's one way to understand really the uniqueness of a place. When you look through their arts and crafts and their products and you talk to the people who either own the shops or, maybe are the artists themselves or whatever, you start to get an insight on, why they express themselves this way. Why do they use bright colors versus, more muted colors and these kinds of things? And all of that kind of ties into the vibe of the place. That I love. Then, because I don't like to waste money, the things that I buy, I'm always trying to look for that it thing or that special souvenir that I think is beautiful, that I will enjoy, and that I will actually use. Because you can buy a lot of things just because they're beautiful. But if you don't end up using them, you really have wasted your money. I'm sure I've done a little bit more of that than I want to admit, but I really try not to do that. So the things that I usually focus on, and I've been drawn to these all my life, is art, clothes, especially shoes, and jewelry. And it can be fine jewelry or it can be, costume jewelry. So, and one more thing, some distinctive things from my home, especially, if I'm going to a place where they really like China. I just love their porcelain and their cloisonne. And I have probably more of that than I need, but I love it. I think it's all beautiful. There's so much tradition in it and artistry in it, and it just speaks to me. I do stay away from touristy places. I don't buy any T-shirts or bags or anything like that. I know a lot of people like it, but I really don't. At one time, I went through a phase where I was collecting mugs from everywhere I went. Well, they started taking over my kitchen cabinet. So I had to cool it. Stop collecting mugs. I mean, my husband said, don't bring home another mug. We can't take another mug. Even he was breaking them.
They couldn't keep up. Oh boy!
It didn't make any difference. So, one of my keys is to always try to make my souvenirs, whether they're for myself or my friends, useful. What I'm looking for is something that represents their culture. Something that I think is beautiful, and like I said, something that I will really use, whether I'll wear it or, I'll put it in my home somewhere and really enjoy it. I use the example. You could go to Mexico, you're having a good time, you see this gorgeous sombrero, you're in the mood, you've had a margarita, you decide to buy it. Well, it was probably better if you maybe paused and thought, well, maybe I should buy an embroidered tunic or, say, a sundress that you could wear, to the pool or casually or whatever. Because when you get home with that sombrero, first of all, it's going to be a pain getting it in the plane. Everybody's going to be saying, oh, look, there's somebody with another
sombrero, yeah.
But the bottom line is you're only going to use it maybe Cinco de Mayo if you're really acting crazy one day. So, bottom line is, don't fall into that. But it's hard. Sometimes there's certain unique things that you think, oh, gosh, that is just, but you won't use it, or you won't enjoy it. You won't put it in your home, and then you'll end up throwing it away, and that is a waste of money. Really, it depends on the place where I'm traveling to, what I look for. And like I do for every trip, I do a lot of pre-trip research, and that includes the topic of shopping and what to buy, where to shop, where the best deals are. And I will Google, those phrases, and I'll read all the blogs about them, or I'll read basically articles that are either in Travel and Leisure or just put out by anybody. The guidebooks are also very good to key in on key products that are only made or specifically this country is known for. So, of course, you want to learn about that. But I do use my secret weapon is the YouTube. And I will Google what to buy, say, in France, or where's the best place to buy shoes in Italy. Or I'm just making this up on the fly right now. But the bottom line is you can Google basically anything into YouTube about shopping, and you'll be surprised what you get back. Yeah. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more later in the broadcast. But first and foremost, do your research and know what's good to buy there. And, write down if it says, oh, you can go to this factory or this artist area or whatever. Make your notes in your little journal. So when you get there, you can ask the concierge, is this really where I should get it? Or, where do you recommend? What I do when I go to a new place is before I start on what I call, quote, my hunt, because shopping is a sport to me. Yeah. Oh it's pitiful. I told you, I confess. But I will do reconnaissance, what I consider. And I will go to the high-end shopping area. And I will look at all of the different stores that are selling the best quality of the products that are only made there. And I will, try to start conversations with the shopkeepers or whatever and ask them, why is this good and how much is this? Where is it made? What should I look for? What's not good? I mean, I'll just start asking them all kinds of questions, and I'll look at things and try to, make a mental and visual impression. So when I'm out and about and I'm looking for something that's good quality at a deal, I'll know if it's good, or I'll have some feel of what is not good. That's another thing. So, I do my reconnaissance. I kind of really get a feel for the quality, how much, if you have to pay dearly for it, how much it's going to cost. And then, like I said, I do ask the concierge at all my hotels. I know what I want to buy, and I always go to them and say, where should I get this? Where's the best place to buy this where I can get it at the best prices? And they will be great. Plus, you can show them your list and what you have written down that you think is a good place, and you can say, is this good? And they'll say, oh, avoid that. That's just hyped up on the internet, or they're not in business anymore, and things like that. So that's really good. Then I love flea markets. Oh, God. And they're becoming, they kind of go in and out of vogue, I think, flea markets. Flea markets are kind of back in vogue now because vintage has become such a big trend worldwide. So I love the flea markets. There's some better than others. And the weekend markets, they are also very good. And that's different than totally a flea market. Weekend markets are more like, where the locals go. Flea markets can be everything. It's not quite, the weekend markets are a little bit different. And I found they're probably in many cases a little bit more high quality because, people are bringing their own handmade goods there, etc. Then there are a lot of pop-up vendors. That's starting to be a big trend. And, of course, I love to go to the bazaars. Oh, those bazaars, they are just like, that is something that is just, for somebody who really likes to shop, oh, gosh, I could spend just days on end in them. And they're just so interesting because they have generations and generations of products in there, and it's just a whole different kind of mindset into what you buy and what you live with. I love that. Some of my favorite markets, I'm gonna give some stories right now because I love to shop so much, and I want people who also like to shop to maybe learn something from all of these different fun times I've had. The first one will start out, well, first of all, I want to talk about all the markets around the world that I've been to because I've gotten some really good stuff there and at really good prices. The first one I want to go talk about is the Portobello Market in London. Oh, one of my all-time favorites. And I remember about 25 years ago, when I was in London, I went to it for the first time, and I had read all about it. This is a market that had been in existence for 200 years, I think. There were just, here again, vendors that had been in there generation on generation. There were buildings that had little stalls in the buildings. They had also outdoor pop-up vendors. They had, good places to eat, whether they were on the street or in restaurants, and it's just really a part of London, in the London, being a Londoner. I mean, everybody goes to the Portobello Market from time to time during the year, and it's just it's a great place to be. It has a wonderful vibe in the weekend. I read that you need to get there at 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you need to get there early because the people who know what they're looking for, they're gotta get the best stuff first. The early bird gets the worm. So I got up real early, and I was walking it. It was kind of a windy street to find it, and I thought I was lost at first, but I finally found it. And oh my God, I went in and out all kinds of places. And I did buy a beautiful diamond ring that I still wear. And that's a treasure. I still wear this ring. Then on that same day, at the end of the day, and I mean, I was haggard because I went up and down stairs. I looked at the brass vendors, the antique dealers, the clock vendors, the people selling shoes, clothes, CDs. body cream. I mean, everything.
Everything, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more goods oriented. It's not quite, but I mean, there's everything there. So I heard this lady, she was saying, pens, pens, pens for sale. You know, like you've heard My Fair Lady. I mean, she was just loud, loud. And so I thought, oh, well, let me go look to see what's going on in that place. So I went and I started looking. I thought, oh, these are beautiful brooches. I asked her, I said, well, how much do these cost? Because they I wouldn't say they were knockoffs, but they were replicas of like Cartier. It wasn't like it wasn't knockoff, but it was better than that. But I was looking and I said, oh, these pins are beautiful. And I said, I asked her the price and she said, oh, well, they vary, blah, blah, blah. But she was real, nice. And we started talking and I said, I don't know what. I can't decide. I like them all. And so she said, well, if you buy more, of course I'll give you a better deal. So I just kind of relaxed and said, okay, I am going to pick out every one that I like and then just give her a price. And so I can't remember, it's been too long ago, but I know I ended up, I think the pens ranged anywhere from about, $18 to $35, $40. I ended up with probably an average cost at around $15 because it was actually the end of the day. And that's another secret. At the end of the day, if they have not sold enough, they're going to cut you better deals. You might get the better chance to get better merchandise at the beginning. Now, this is not tried and true in other areas of the world, what I'm saying now. But in the Western European flea markets, at the end of the day, and pretty much in the other ones too, if they haven't sold the amount they need, they're going to give you a better deal. And so she hadn't, but she was so nice, and we just laughed. And the vendor next to her, she was just huffing around, and the seller told me, she said, she doesn't like me because I'm loud, and I get people in here and people buy from me and they don't buy anything from her because she's just has such a bad attitude. So that was the first part of the story. The second part of the story is 3 years later, I was back in London. I was there for a conference. And I got out of the conference at 11 o'clock on Saturday. I said, well, I have enough time to go down there because everything shuts down around 3 o'clock at the Portobello Market. So I take the tube, I get out, go down. I know exactly how to get there. And so I'm walking and I look at a couple of things and then I think to myself, I wonder if the pen lady is still there. So, here I find her again and I walk up, I don't say anything, and I'm looking at the pens. And she looked at me, she said, why are you here so late? And I said, well, what are you talking about? I said, do you know who I am? She said, yes, you're the lady that bought all those pens a couple of years ago. Now, let me tell you something. When you find vendors like that, and that's kind of the whole spirit of the London market, they pay attention to who's in there, and some of them are really great. So, I made a friend with that lady, and if I'd go there today and she was still there, she'd probably say, you're the lady that bought all those pens that day. So that's one great story. So I love the Portobello Market. So if you're going to London and you like to shop or you have time just to spend the Saturday morning, go there because it's very interesting. They have lots of different kinds of activities that are going on. There are families there and travelers there, solo travelers, couples, everything. That's one. Then another flea market. Now this one, you have to have a guide to unless you speak Chinese. But the Beijing flea market, oh my God, this is like the biggest flea market in the world. And I had discovered this on YouTube. And let me tell you, this is a rough flea market. This one is rough. It is huge. And it sells everything from trash to fabulous stuff. So, and when I mean trash, I mean trash. The Chinese will sell anything. Used paper that's been used 10 times. Somebody will buy it. They're selling it. It's amazing. The Chinese, everybody's trying to sell something. They are the most fiery, driven people. I mean, it is amazing. Their energy is just unbelievable. So I definitely wanted to go to the Beijing flea market just to see it, number one. Then I wanted to see if I could buy some jade, because I love jade, and some cloisonne. So I got my concierge to get me a guide, and so we went out there, and it was great. For starters, I knew what to expect, that it was pretty rough. It's not the cleanest part of town, for starters.
When you say rough, do you mean like, so it's a little bit dirty? Is it just crowded? I mean, I'm just kind
Everything.
Everything. Okay.
Everything. And you have all of these artisans and ethnic people that have come in from all over China. And, they're very different types of people, and so there are different languages being spoken, and all of their furs and, different tapestries, ethnic tapestries. And you'll see so many things, like these big kind of tribal necklaces. I mean, there were things there that I never knew existed. So, and they're just rows and rows and rows of this. So you have to have somebody who knows the flea market, knows how it's organized, knows what's good, knows how much things cost. And you can't, the Google Translate might not be able to get you through everything you need. It probably could, but the guide is much better because they have the hawk eye, and they really know when things are really overpriced and not quality, okay? And you might think that they are, seriously, because the Chinese can make some very good reproductions. So that was a great experience. Now, I would do it again if I went back to Beijing, but you better be ready for battle, because this one is this one is pretty It takes it out of you, I can tell you. And then the next one, and this is probably my favorite, is the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul. Oh my God, that place is gorgeous. First of all, it's an old building that has a labyrinth of all of these different add-ons to it, and shops within shops and hidden shops, and this is an unbelievable place. And I'll never forget, I had gone in, it was the first time that I was there. And I have a couple of stories about the Grand Bazaar, but I'll tell you the rug story. I went into a rug place, and they've got, oh God, so many rugs. I tell you, if you want to buy a rug and you go to Istanbul, you probably will just have a nervous breakdown because there's so many rugs there. And it is something else. I mean, it is hard to find that rug that you really want out of a trillion rugs. So I went into this shop, and the men there, they were all nice, and they all serve you hot tea, and you have to drink tea with these vendors. If you don't drink tea, you won't get to first base. So I sat down there, and we were talking, and I said, look, I really don't need any rugs, but I just love Oriental rugs. Catherine, can you tell?
I'm sorry, listeners. I'm just looking around at the dining room studio, and I'm noticing there are rugs everywhere.
Well, but I told him that I could take a rug in my kitchen, and maybe I wanted to change the rug out in my bedroom. But I didn't really want to buy a rug in Istanbul and carry it around. He said, "Oh, no problem." He said, I actually have a store in New Jersey, and I come to the United States a couple of times a year, and I travel all over the country. I have clients all over, and I get a lot of referrals, and so basically we just kind of established a relationship. And I said, "Look, when you come to the States, and if you come into the Louisiana area," and he said, "Oh yeah, I do a lot of business in Houston and in Dallas and some in New Orleans." I said, "Well, come to my home." And he said, "Yes, and I'll take pictures and look and everything." And, so I left, and I thought, well, we'll see. A couple of months later, hurricane came. And, in Louisiana, we experience hurricanes, unfortunately. All of a sudden, I get a call from Hassan Turkai. and I'm going, "What?" He said, "Oh, I'm just calling to make sure you're okay." He said, "I was thinking about you, and I was really kind of worried. I was worried." And I said, "Hassan, that is so nice." And I must say, everybody in Turkey that I've ever either bought something from or become friends with, they are the nicest people in the world. The Turks are so nice. I mean, I just love them. I've always had great relationships and experiences with them. So I said, "Well, yes, we're okay, blah, blah, blah." And we were okay. And he said, "Well, I just wanted to check on you because I really was worried." And he said, "I think I'm going to come to the States, around Christmas time or whatever." And he says, "I'll call you." And he called me, and he came, and he took pictures of my house, and he knew what I wanted. And then when he came back a year later, he brought me all kinds of rugs to look at. And there was one that, I was so in love with, but it was way more than I wanted to buy. But it was perfection. It was Armenian rug, handmade, absolutely museum quality. It was fine. Well, I ended up buying a rug for the kitchen. And I never got the Armenian rug. But if he still has it, I know he'd sell it to me. And I have to tell you another thing. I told him, I said, "Hassan, the time is not right. Maybe I can get it, in a few years." He said, "Just keep it. You can keep it." And I said, "Well, I'm not going to put it in the bedroom. I'm going to put it in the closet." So he actually left that very expensive rug in my home for years. And then finally I told him, I said, "Look, I just don't think I'm going to go for it." So he came back and picked it up. But let me tell you, that's how they do business. And I wanted to share that with you, because when you go into the Grand Bazaar, I'm sure not everybody is that wonderful.
Yeah.
But these people have been selling things for a long time, and they are good at it. And I've never had a bad transaction with any of them. So I love the Grand Bazaar.
Wait, I have to stop you for a second. I am just thinking, I've gone into stores locally and not gotten that kind of service. And here you are, literally you were across the world and you got this kind of custom experience.
Yes, and listeners, if you want his name and phone number,
gosh, we got to get him some business.
Put it in the comment section, because he is the real thing. And he brings rugs from Georgia, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan. Wow. He gets them from all over, and they are gorgeous. Trust me, they're gorgeous. Then, of course, another mother lode is the Medina in Marrakesh. Oh, that one I had so much fun with too, because it's less expensive than the Grand Bazaar. Oh, and just, it's so colorful and vibrant. And everybody's just trying to sell something, and there's just so much there, and I loved it. So that's a great place. Another, the Christmas markets in Vienna and Budapest are great. Now, I really haven't been to the ones in Germany. I've been to one, but it wasn't quite as good. But Vienna, and Budapest too, they have just gorgeous things. Like, I remember at the Budapest, they had these gorgeous light green, kind of seafoam green and kind of lavender, was in turquoise candles. And in these candles, they had these rose petals in them. Oh, God. These candles were so gorgeous, and all these handmade artistic candles, and they were not expensive. Oh, they were really to die for. So those two Christmas markets I think are fabulous. And then the last place that I want to highlight basically is the souk, the gold souk in Dubai. Now, if you like gold, you really are going to freak out. But this is a great place to buy gold because I mean, first of all, that it's the standard price at the day is kind of the starting point. But you can negotiate, and especially if they're not having a good day or week or month or whatever, or they like you, yeah, they'll come off some. So it's just a great place. And another thing about the gold souks that I found, there is a vibe in there. I think it's all that gold. That I'm telling you, it just energizes you. It's amazing. It's amazing. So be prepared for that. Some people I don't think like that because it gets them too jacked up. Or whatever, but I do think it's all that gold. And then on top of that, they have those fluorescent lights. And I mean, ooh.
The vibes are going on.
Yeah. So, basically, some countries are much better than others. Germany is not nearly like Turkey. So in kind of like what I consider the old trading cities, those are the best ones. So, I mean, those are some of my favorite places in terms of the markets. Now, France I love because I love their high-end goods. They're very pricey, so I usually don't buy anything. I look around. I might say, okay, I'm going to buy one Hermes scarf, or I'm going to, buy a Louis Vuitton bracelet or something, I mean, or I will, here again, do my reconnaissance and then go to the duty-free shop in Charles de Gaulle. And let me tell you, they have great duty-free French shops in Charles de Gaulle. Also in Copenhagen. Yeah, I mean, you can get Hermes jogging shoes for probably about 35% off, and especially with the dollar stronger. I mean, they don't cut it that much, but it's better than when paying full price.
Retail, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So your scarves are much cheaper, and if you like that kind of stuff, I'm a baby boomer. We grew up really kind of, excuse me for saying this, lusting over that stuff. So, I do shop there. And then Singapore and the Far East, like Singapore is very expensive, but if you know where to go, you can buy some really good stuff. Lisbon is a nice place to shop. There's not that much to buy per se, but they have some beautiful boiled wool things. Now, I didn't know anything about boiled wool before I went there, but they make hats and purses and jackets and art and dolls out of it, and it's very high quality, and they have it muted tones and vibrant tones, and it's something I think very earthy but sophisticated. So I like that, and the wines and the port are great. They also make a lot of cork things. I actually went to the flea market in Lisbon, and I bought some great cork things and some things from some artisans. Like you'll see this sometimes in different places in the world, but they will take the little Nespresso coffee, where they put the coffee in those little cups.
The pods.
Yeah. And they'll make jewelry out of it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I bought some really cute necklace and a ring and a bracelet made out of that. It looks so cute. And it was not expensive, but it's fun. But back to the cork, they have a lot of different nice cork things, whether it's cork and tile pot holders or clutch bags or shoes or key rings. I know I bought some earrings and a ring because I love jewelry, but they weren't expensive. Venice used to be a great place to shop. I have to tell you, the last time I went in September, I was so disheartened because what has happened now, because Venice, it's become very expensive in terms of the real estate and I guess the artisans themselves and the people who make, the silk scarves and the leather goods and the things that the Italians are known for and somewhat the Venetians. They can't afford it. So now you've got all of these Chinese vendors. And in there, they have reproductions that you've got to be careful of because some of them are very poorly made. Some of them look pretty good, but they're not the real thing. And there are a lot of them. So you have to be very careful now in Venice. And really, Venice, you can still buy leather goods. And I bought a real cute purse there. The Murano glass and their linens in Murano, the other island, those are the best places to get those two things. And make sure you've got that state seal on it or the seal because, whether it's a mask or whatever you want to buy from Venice, there are a lot of Chinese made goods there that look Venetian. So it's not as much fun for somebody like me because I really do want to get the real thing at a good price. A couple more places. Russia. I love Russia. They're just so talented in terms of art and in performing arts and everything. But there are not that many things to buy there. I mean, they're the little Marushka dolls, or they're by the trillions. But there's beautiful lacquerware that you can buy, whether for your home or jewelry and for your kitchen. But there's really not too much. One thing I did want to buy was some china and crystal because I had done some research and I thought some of the patterns, traditional Lomonosov patterns, were just beautiful. So I got my guide to take me to the Imperial Porcelain Factory. I got a tour of the factory and learned all about it. And then in the shop, I ended up buying a 12-piece set of china with onion domes. This is the most beautiful china with cobalt blue onion domes and white and gold accent. And then I bought the blue crystal glasses, the water and the wine, champagne and tea, with the gold embossed double Russian eagles. I mean, a lot of people don't like that style, but I love the exoticism of all the different cultural influences in Russia. What you see in Russia. So I just really loved it, and it was all at a great price. So that was wonderful. So let me tell you one more story about China, and this is not the Chinese flea market, but this is a little bit because we're going to get into how you start getting that best price and what your attitude has to be, because that makes a lot of difference whether you leave with something or you don't. But the prices in China are so great. Mainland China, if you know what you're looking for and you find the right little vendors, took a Yangtze River cruise, and you stop every so often and look at a pagoda, or you go to a bamboo forest, or a church, or a little village, or whatever. And so we had stopped at this one place, and they've always got vendors out there. And this one vendor was selling all of these Chinese jackets, ladies' jackets, and some dresses in the typical Chinese pattern. And they've got different symbols. Old Chinese patterns have a lot of symbols in them. And I like them, and I like those colors that they use and everything. And he said, these are silk jackets for $30. And I knew they were polyester. I mean, they were cut right. I liked the pattern on the fabric, and I liked the little frog buttons, but they were polyester. Oh no, that's not silk. And so, I looked around a little bit and I left. Well, we had, I think, about 30 minutes. So when it was coming back, 5 minutes before I got on the riverboat, I went in there. I said, "Look, I like this, this, and this. Those 3 jackets. If you sell me those 3 jackets for $30, it's a deal. I'll give you cash right now." And he said, "Okay." So I left with 3 jackets for $10. Now they're not expensive, $10 a piece. They're not real silk, but I still get compliments on them. They look great with jeans. I can wear them, out to eat, not if it's a real fancy place. But they're warm enough, and they really are pretty. I always get compliments on them. So I love to shop, and, I don't just shop in high end. I shop basically everywhere. Right now, the American dollar is so strong that shopping all over the world is probably some of the best it's ever been. Because the economies around the world are not doing as well since 2008. Our dollar is stronger. Technology is taking away jobs. So, people are really, they're giving you good deals. In fact, I sometimes, because I'm really rough about getting a good price, I never forget. I just was so awful to this one man in Marrakesh. I still feel bad. I still feel like I should have given him more money. I mean, it was just awful. But he said yes, and I don't know. I guess I was a little too hard at that point. But the dollar is really strong, and, be mindful about how low you'll go, I guess I would say. I want to tell one more story because this one was so heartwarming. When I was in Marrakesh, there's another area where it's called the Artisanale or whatever, but it's a big area that's government sponsored that has a lot of artisans and craftsmen that make their different crafts there, whether it's, handmade caftans or, the leather babushka shoes or the jewelry, just the rugs, everything. And it's wonderful because you can eat there and out in your courtyard and have tangine, and it's just, you can change money there. You can have them ship goods back, the whole thing. So it's great because these products are high quality because these are government approved and government sponsored. These particular artists, they're selected. So I went into this shop, and there was this young woman, and I knew she was kind of handicapped. But she was, trying to show me, she made jewelry and trying to show me different things. And I started looking around, and I asked her how much and everything. And she just had the sweetest, happiest, personality. And she was so proud of everything that she made. And she really couldn't speak English very well, but she was trying hard. And I mean, she was just really a total delight. I thought, here is somebody who really could just totally be broken and not do anything. And she is creating, and she's just has such a wonderful energy about her. So I spent about a half an hour in there, and I ended up buying 4 necklaces or something. I don't know. I've given a couple of them away, but I could not. And they were actually really nice. And at the end, her mother comes down, and she thanked me so much from buying from her daughter. So it was just so heartwarming. I made the mother take a picture of me in her, and I've actually written about her in a blog because she was just. And I have her card. I'm sorry I don't have the name now, but if you go to that area where the artisans are, it's pretty close to the Medina. You'll probably notice her shop. It's right there by where you eat. And she just has a way of making it happen. And that's really, really nice. So, I like to shop everywhere, Catherine. It doesn't matter.
That is not in dispute at all. Everybody knows now.
If you want to ask me any questions, comments, or whatever after this podcast, please do, because I could I could talk for weeks about where to shop, and this is hard to keep me from talking.
Contained.
Yeah.
About,
Yeah. With all that said, I love the hunt. And if you love to shop and you travel solo, this is great because you don't have your husband or your friends or your kids or anybody saying, oh, we don't want to shop anymore. Quit buying that. You don't need that. That's ridiculous. I mean, we all know it because you're going to have to do it on the sly and bring it in, hide it. So that's one of the greatest things about solo travel is you can shop in peace. I mean, you can totally shop till you drop in peace. So, bottom line, I mean, shopping really is important.
Wow.
For me. And, I do my research and, it's not only is it a sport, but I learn a lot. I love talking to the artists and the artisans and getting them to tell me all about everything, and it adds a lot to my trip.
We're going to wrap it right there for this edition of Solo Travel Talk. We hope you enjoyed all these great stories of shopping adventures, and maybe it's inspired you to go on what Astrid calls the hunt. We're going to have a follow-up episode to this one where Astrid really shares a lot more of the tactics of shopping while you're on your solo adventure. You know what you need a tactic for right now is packing your bags. You can get Astrid's amazing packing list by just going to her website, astridtravel.com. Right there, right on the front page, is a place you can download the packing list right away, which we encourage you to do. You can subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or Stitcher, or really find it any of the finer places that podcasts can be found. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Solo Travel Talk. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Solo Travel Talk. Follow Astrid on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. To learn more about Astrid or Solo Travel Advisors, visit our website, astridtravel.com.